Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going over random problems of 8E Part 2. Go.
Number 15.
Number 15. Two x cubed minus 6x squared minus 36x. Now, if you don't see a greatest common factor, you're finding factors of 72 that add up to 6. No. Even. Pull out a 2. 2 times x cubed minus 3x squared minus 18x. Okay, check. All right, now we can factor. Oh, I didn't pull everything out. Look at that, I missed it. Were you going to say it, Tyler? Okay. They all have an x. See how easy it is not to get it all? 2x times, okay, how many x's do we need?
1.
X squared minus 3x minus 18. Now, Emma, notice right now, I'm just putting 2 parentheses because there's no reason to use grouping when there's no number there, okay? Automatically just put an x, and then we're doing 1 times 18, 2 times 9, 3 times 6. There is our negative 3, a negative 6, and a positive 3. Done. Don't do grouping when the number in front of x is 1. It's too much work. All right, another one. Yeah, what do you?
By 19.
Okay, we're doing 19. Remind me to do 19 last, because that's part of the lesson.
Okay.
Any other one besides 19? Yeah.
18.
18. 4ax squared plus 2ax minus 20a. Greatest common factor. They're all even, so we know we have a 2. And they all have an a. Did you do that?
Yeah.
All right, so now we get 2x squared plus x minus 10. You with me?
I don't know what I did, but I did it wrong.
Does anybody need me to go past that? This times this is that, this times this is that, this times this is that. Then we would be finding factors of 20 that give me 1, 4 and 5.
Alright.
All right? I won't finish it then. You want me to finish it or not? Emma, all we added yesterday was throwing in ones that have greatest common factors. All right, another one. Number 5. 16x squared plus 8x plus 1. Okay, good. We're going to do 5 and we're going to do 18 because they are both part of today's lesson. A perfect square trinomial, we did this over a week ago, is when you take the square root of that, which is what? 4x. We'll go over that in a minute. Square root of 1, doubled, gives you that. And the fastest way to factor these is you know you're going to have the same thing twice. Square root of that is 4x. Square root of that is 1. And that's the answer. Now you can do it the long way. Okay, I'm going to do it the long way because you didn't know that yet. Just remember what the answer was. Okay, 16x squared. And we're looking for factors of 16 that give you 8. Plus 4x, plus 4x, plus 1. Group it. Greatest common factor, 4x times 4x plus 1. 4x plus 1 plus 1. Final answer, boom. when you can recognize a perfect square trinomial, you will be able to go from here straight to the answer. And let me show you number 18, or it was 19, I'm sorry. Because that gave you 1, too. On number 19, plus 12a cubed b squared plus 6a squared b cubed. When you pull out the greatest common factor, they all had a 6, an a squared, and a b. You got a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And you probably didn't know how to factor that. This is a perfect square trinomial. Perfect square trinomial will always produce the same thing twice by just taking the square root of the first one and the last one. A plus b, a plus b. I know you don't get that yet. I'm going to show you a ton of examples. Yeah.
So for like problems like 19, if you went and like got the, because I don't know why, but I did like the greatest common factor and then
6a squared b.
yeah, but then I forgot the a.
Oh, if you forgot the a, you were dead in the water. Yeah. Let me just show you real fast what I was talking about. Look at number 4 on your back. If you multiply it out, you get 16x squared. And since this is the same thing twice, you're going to get the same middle term twice. 12x and 12x. Always. And then the last term is 9. So your final answer. Now, if I ask you to factor this on a test, you don't want to do 9 times 16, which is 144, and find factors of 144 that give you 24. Can it be done? Yes. But it's a perfect square trinomial. If you know it's a perfect square trinomial, you have the same thing twice. Just take the square root of the first one and the square root of the last one and decide if it's plus or minus. It works every single time. Here's another example. Here's one that you don't even know. All right? 81x squared plus 90x plus 25. Do you really want to take 81 times 25, find all those factors that add up to 90? No. But if you know, well, first of all, if you have really big numbers, your hint right away is there must be a GCF or it must be a perfect square trinomial. She wouldn't give us 81 times 25. I wouldn't. All right, so there's no GCF because the only thing that goes into 25 is 5. But the square root of that times the square root of that doubled is that. So now I know I have a perfect square trinomial. I have the same thing twice, and all I have to do is take the square root of those. 9x, 5. And that's the answer. And you can check it. 81x squared, 45x, 45x, 25. A perfect square trinomial is the easiest thing to factor if you happen to know it's a perfect square trinomial. Now you got to be careful because it might not be one. You can't just, you know, if I have 100x squared here and I have 25x here and here I have 30x, I'm 25. Well, that's a perfect square and that's a perfect square, but if you double it, you don't get that. So you can't do it. But if I change this to a what, will it make it a perfect square trinomial? Good for you. Now it is, because 10 times 5 doubled is 50. That's a perfect square trinomial. But guess what? It has the greatest common factor you have to pull out first. What goes into all of those? 25. 25 times If you don't pull it out, you're going to get the wrong answer.
4x squared.
4x squared
2x plus 5.
Plus 1.
Oh, wait, yeah.
plus 5
Plus 1.
plus 1. Square root of that times the square root of that doubled is that. We still have a perfect square trinomial. No, it's not. We're done. Didn't work. It's not a perfect square trinomial anymore. You've got to say GCF every single time you factor. Now let's see if we can factor this. What are factors of 4 that give us, oh, it is a perfect square trinomial. 2 times 1 doubled.
2 times 1. 2x.
No, it's not. Let's factor it. What are factors of 4, right, that give me a 2?
2 and 4.
2 and 2.
I mean 2 and 2.
2 and 2?
No.
Can't do halves.
Oh.
You asked the question, I answered it.
You got 1 and 4.
Is that going to work?
No.
Is that going to work?
No.
It's factored. Rising, there's something wrong here.
What?
Oh, Dylan's answer was wrong.
It's 100x.
Who said that?
Me.
Thank you. Dylan, you messed this up.
I kind of already.
I just kind of
like,
took your word on
it's
it.
like-
I should have checked it.
You said 50 doubled. I was like,
10
what are you talking about?
times 5 doubled is 100. That's a perfect square trinomial. Now let's do it right. That's all on tape.
Double.
Sorry I wasted your time, but we're blaming Dylan. See this guy right here?
The brown
It's
dude.
his fault, yeah. I took his word on something.
He just forgot to multiply it by 2.
Yeah.
It sounds
Because when you said doubled.
Okay. If you get a perfect square trinomial that has the greatest common factor, let's get it out first. What's the greatest common factor?
25.
25. Okay? Times. I knew it had to be a perfect square trinomial when I was done. So something was wrong. 4x squared
plus
4.
1. Wow.
Now it's a perfect square trinomial. Gosh, I knew something was wrong. Okay, so square root of that, 2x. Square root of 1,
1.
that's the final answer.
Nice.
It's my fault. I always check.
Well, we know what
And I
not to
didn't.
do now.
Well, you know to be careful.
Yeah, there you go.
If you have a perfect square trinomial with a GCF, you're going to have a perfect square trinomial without a GCF before you finish.
It's funny because you were like,
That's why I couldn't understand why we didn't still have one.
5 seconds.
But he gave me a Valentine today, so I'll forgive him. All right. This one you can do easily because the factors of 36 that give you 12 are 6 and 6. But it is a perfect square trinomial, so you know you have the same thing twice. X and 6, X and 6.
I thought it was 30.
6 times 6 is 36.
Multiply. The middle.
Square root of that, doubled, 12x. Okay. Now let me give you a much bigger perfect square trinomial
1
to
middle.
convince you to try to learn how to recognize them. Okay? 49x squared. Let's put a minus in there.
whoa.
All right, that has no common factors, so you would have to, Leah, pay attention, you would have to do 49 times 25 and find factors that add up to 70. It is possible, but it's nuts, because you have a perfect square trinomial. 7 times 5 is 35, doubled is 70. We got one. So since we have one, we have the same thing twice with a minus. Because of that, it has to be minus. They're either both minus or both plus. Square root of that, 7x. Square root of that, 5. Check it and you'll get, just FOIL it and you'll get that back. Yeah,
Would you like us to write it so that there's 2 of them?
I don't
or
care. No, I just
square?
do that because some kids like to. You can absolutely write it like that. If you know you have one, it's going to be the same thing twice. All right, let's go back to the back. X plus 7, x minus 7. Middle term disappeared, didn't it? You had a plus 7x and you had a minus 7x. So you only ended up with that. Okay? 2x plus 5, 2x minus 5. One of each. The middle term disappeared. 4x squared minus 25. How do we get back from here to what we started with? How do we get back from here to what we started with?
Square root.
Andrea?
You make them both positive?
No. This is going to give you this. If it goes one way, it's got to come back to it.
Square root.
All you do is take the square root. If you see any two perfect squares, no matter what they are, automatically put plus and minus. Take the square root of the first one, take the square root of the second one. So, perfect square, perfect square.
X minus.
One's plus, one's minus. 7 and 7. You can always FOIL it to see if you did it right. Okay, let's do it again. Two perfect squares. One's plus, one's minus. 2x, 5. Let me give you another one. This is the easiest factoring in the world.
Yo.
I didn't want to show it to you first in the beginning of factoring, because then you would think everything was so easy. But the easiest factoring in the world is two perfect squares. One's plus, one's minus, take the square root. Okay, here you go. 81 x to the 4th minus 9. Two perfect squares. One's plus, one's minus. What do I put in the blanks? Andrea?
X to the fourth, no, 81 is 9. X to the second, then 3. X, no, and then -3.
Now, this problem is done because this is not a perfect square, and that's not a perfect square. Now, this is what you saw on the board when you came in today.
Oh my goodness.
It's crazy, watch. They're both perfect squares,
Stop there.
okay? So one's plus and one's minus. X 16 plus 1,
Oh, I see.
x to the 16 minus 1. Guess what?
Perfect.
Perfect squares. So just rewrite the first one. One's plus, one's minus.
8.
X to the 8th plus 1, x to the 8th minus 1. Guess what? Two perfect squares.
Oh my God.
Can't do anything with the plus ones. They're not the difference, right? Okay? One's plus, one's minus. X to the 4th plus 1,
16.
x to the 4th minus 1. Guess what? Two perfect squares.
I hate square.
How many like this would be on the test?
I'll show you the most missed question on the test last year.
Please.
Plus 1. Oh, we got another one. Rewrite. X plus 1, x minus 1. Now, I didn't give anything on the test. This was the hardest one last year, and I think only 15 kids got it right.
What they put?
I'll show you what they put. You'll know what they put as soon as you see it.
Alright, go.
Where is it? Oh, here it is. 4x squared minus, no, that wasn't it. I got it on here somewhere. Oh, here it is, 16x to the fourth minus 1. Most missed question last year.
Perfect square.
Okay. One's plus, one's minus. Everybody put 4x squared plus 1, 4x squared minus 1, and they stopped.
Perfect square.
But wait, there's more.
They didn't catch that second one. If you have a problem where there's a difference of two perfect squares, always check to see that you can't do it again. That's my advice. And you can. So what's the final answer?
4x. 2x.
2x, 2x. Done. And that was the most missed question. I have it on your notes.
I'll read them
I usually look at the test questions that were missed and rewrite my notes to match the ones kids screw up on. Now, how does this get complicated? Right here. What would you do with this?
I don't know. It's going.
What would be your first inclination here?
Don't do it. Skip it.
Find the greatest common
Find the greatest common factor. Well, 3. Does 3 go into this? 7 plus 4 plus 1, 12. Yep.
What'd you just do?
7 plus 4 plus 1. If it adds up to a multiple of 3, 3 goes into it. Yeah, promise.
Stop. Do it here.
7 plus 4 plus 1 is 12. Does 3 go into 12? Yeah, so 3 goes into 1.7.
That ain't addition. That's
It's a
number.
trick.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, what's greatest common factor?
Don't know.
X to the second.
3x to the 6th.
Huh?
They both have x to the 6th.
Okay, so
So what do we get here?
X squared minus 49. But wait, there's more.
One's plus, one's minus.
x minus 7, x plus 7.
It's a lot to remember. But the main thing is find the GCF. Now obviously you don't know little tricks.
No, I don't.
Okay. If a number ends in 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0, what can you divide it by no matter what?
2.
Yeah, 2.
All right.
So
If you have a number, that can be divided by 3. Because you add them up, you get 6. That's how you know.
Isn't it the same for 9?
Same for 9, but we'd need 3 more for 9.
What?
You can divide that by 9 or 3, because it adds up to 9. How come you didn't learn that? Oh, you probably weren't paying attention.
I always pay attention. You never teach.
Can you divide that by 3?
I don't know. Probably.
Yes.
Yes.
Adds up to 6. Sure you can.
107.
107. Okay, how do you know if a number can be divided by 5?
If it has 5 numbers.
Ends in 0 or 5. And those 3 things you should always check. You should always check. Divide by 2, divide by 3, divide by 5.
So give me one. Hold up. Let me practice.
All right? Can you divide that by 3?
Hold on. 3, 6. Wait, hold up. 10. It has to go by 10, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So you can't.
Can't.
Okay, give me. Now you can.
Now you can divide it by 9 or 3. Always
What
take
about
9.
6?
6 only works if 2 and 3 both work. So why bother? Just do 2 or 3. Okay? All right. How much time? I'm going to put up a trinomial and you tell me if it's a perfect square one.
Perfect square. I know how you do it.
I tricked you.
It's not.
6 isn't a perfect square, guys.
Oh. You can divide by 2/3.
Huh?
You can divide by 2/3.
It's not a square. You can't do this right here. It's impossible. Now, how can I make it 1? Right here.
Eight.
Now it's 1. Because 3 times 5 times 2 is 30. So now, instead of doing 9 times 25, what are the 2 factors here? 3x and 5. Done. Get it? You can turn that off.
No.
How do you know she doesn't think it's 5 times 5?
That's nobody's business.
I'm still messed up about.
So I like
You gotta put.
Morgan, press stop.
So I'd like to.
It's already stopped. Is it? Oh my god. Stop it. She's gonna be fucking.
Logan, why'd you turn on the
She'd be
video?
like, who the fuck?